SoftBank pledges 75 billion euros for French AI data centers. France's nuclear surplus just became the hottest real estate in AI. SoftBank's build-out will consume most of it by 2030, leaving hyperscalers scrambling for the scraps. Expect Microsoft and Google to accelerate German and Nordic site acquisitions within the next 18 months, or watch their European enterprise wins erode as latency and sovereignty requirements tighten. The grid operator's next capacity auction will tell you who blinked first. Smaller players without direct power deals will face 30% higher inference costs. NVIDIA unveils DGX Station for Windows. Trillion-parameter models now run on the same desk that used to host Excel. That shift collapses the latency advantage cloud providers sold to regulated industries. Watch enterprise procurement teams renegotiate their Azure AI commitments downward once finance sees the CapEx line item versus per-token burn. The first deployments will appear in banks and defense contractors within 6 months, forcing AWS to introduce matching on-prem licensing or lose the regulated verticals that still drive most of their AI revenue. Sysdig documents first LLM agent cyberattack. Zero human involvement means the attack surface just moved from phishing emails to prompt injection in the agent loop. Every enterprise that deployed an autonomous agent last quarter now needs a hard kill switch and daily spend audit, or the next exfiltration will empty both the database and the cloud wallet before anyone notices. This forces SOC teams to instrument every agent runtime with spend caps inside 12 months, or watch rogue loops drain cloud budgets in a single cycle. Canada leaks draft National AI Strategy. The equity fund changes the cap table before most founders even incorporate. Canadian labs will now weigh government money against Silicon Valley terms, and the ones that take it will carry board observers who answer to Ottawa. U.S. investors face a new variable. Any deal that leaves too much upside north of the border risks competing against subsidized domestic alternatives in their own portfolio reviews. Watch Series A term sheets shift within 12 months as funds insert Canadian carve-outs. Mistral AI launches Vibe Unified Agent Platform. The industrial focus for aerospace and auto customers splits Vibe into modes that most productivity agents still treat as one workload. This forces Anthropic to either match the industrial certifications or cede the manufacturing vertical entirely. Inference capacity at the new data center targets European data residency rules that U.S. providers continue to navigate slowly. Productivity teams gain code mode for direct repo edits, while work mode logs every compliance step, a distinction that reveals how current agents lose enterprise deals on audit trails alone. GitHub Copilot shifts to token-based billing. Token consumption now varies sharply between autocomplete and multi-file refactors, turning fixed subscriptions into unpredictable monthly line items for any team exceeding average prompt length. Mid-sized teams already report 2x cost swings on heavy debugging weeks. This forces Cursor to either subsidize its own usage tiers or risk losing developers who treat Copilot as the default IDE layer. Smaller open-source maintainers face the sharpest choice: throttle their workflows or migrate to fully local models before June billing cycles close. Verizon Connect scales agentic AI to 100K users. Daily insights delivered to 100K fleet managers create a closed loop where Verizon's agents improve on proprietary telematics schemas that third parties cannot replicate. AWS margins on those inference calls tighten once SLAs demand sub-second responses across mixed vehicle types. Fleet operators without equivalent agent coverage will see insurance premiums diverge within 18 months as carriers favor instrumented data over manual reporting. The scale also locks in AWS as the default for regulated telematics workloads that competitors must now match. Humanoid robots deployed to Ukraine frontlines. Combat zone trials generate navigation and manipulation data that no lab environment can safely produce at scale. This forces Figure and Boston Dynamics to either harden their platforms for contested environments or accept narrower, commercial-only roadmaps. Reconnaissance missions expose power and sensor trade-offs that warehouse deployments never surface, shifting defense procurement timelines forward by at least 12 months. Early results will determine whether humanoid form factors justify the complexity over proven drone alternatives already in theater. Authorities struggle against AI deepfake nudes. Prosecutors chase generations that outrun any single subpoena. State watermark mandates arrive within 12 months, or open models get blocked from app stores in multiple jurisdictions. One leaked weights file resets the entire enforcement effort overnight. Victims watch new variants appear on fresh checkpoints before any ruling sticks. Smaller labs shift to enterprise-only licensing to dodge liability that hits consumer downloads first. Larger providers absorb the compliance burden but lose the hobbyist developer base that drove earlier adoption. Apple readies Gemini-powered Siri at WWDC. WWDC 2026 will test whether Gemini can sustain multi-turn agent loops without dropping context across apps. Samsung accelerates its own model partnerships because Apple just proved the hybrid approach reaches consumers first. Latency complaints will surface first in calendar and email workflows, where users expect zero handoffs. This leaves Microsoft pushing harder on Windows Copilot to retain productivity defaults on non-Apple devices. Smaller voice vendors lose the mid-tier OEM pipeline once iOS sets the new baseline. NVIDIA RTX Spark enables local world models. Windows laptops now host world models that maintain spatial memory across reboots. Cloud agent vendors lose their latency advantage once these chips ship in volume by mid-2026. Enterprise IT teams meet data residency rules without sacrificing responsiveness on internal workflows. AMD must match the integration roadmap or lose the creator segment where simulation tasks dominate. Inference services face margin erosion as high-frequency local queries stop phoning home. Consumer adoption follows once battery impact stays under 10% during always-on mapping. Gemini Omni showcases high-fidelity agent demos. High-value marketplaces must now demand device attestation for any uploaded imagery or risk fraud claims that current filters miss. The spatial navigation demo reveals how agents will soon simulate entire store layouts before a single pixel renders on screen. Competitors like OpenAI need matching fidelity, or they forfeit the simulation use cases that justify premium tiers. Watch the API economics shift once enterprises require these proofs baked into every response. Smaller creators lose iteration speed once platforms enforce these checks.